Cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, for the second time in a year, a jury has ruled that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer was a factor in causing a man's cancer. On Tuesday, a jury in San Francisco found that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer played a significant role in contributing to 70-year-old Edwin Hardeman's cancer. Hardeman used Roundup on his 56-acre Sonoma County property for decades before he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2015. The Mind Unleashed reports a unanimous verdict concluded a trial that may determine the future of thousands of similar lawsuits filed against biotechnology giant Monsanto. CBS News reports that U.S. District Court Judge Vince Carbria controversially split Hardeman's trial into two phases, with the first phase exclusively focused on scientific facts. Judge Carbria chose to ignore evidence of apparent corporate misbehavior by Monsanto representatives because he said it was a distraction from the scientific question of whether Roundup causes cancer. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And listen up, Liberty Beat listeners. Right now, you can save 10% off your purchase by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. A bus full of school children in Italy was set on fire by its driver in the outskirts of Milan on Wednesday. The Mind Unleashed reports it happens in protest of migrants who have drowned due to the country's hardline stance on blocking migrant vessels. Reuters reports that police were called to the scene and quickly managed to get everyone to safety before arresting the man. The driver, a 47-year-old Singhalese-born Italian with a criminal record, reportedly shouted, quote, "Stop the deaths at sea. I'll carry out a massacre," end quote. That's according to police spokesman Marco Palmieri. All of the children were able to escape before the bus was completely engulfed in flames. One child told reporters the man had threatened to pour gas on them and set them ablaze. Last Thursday, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill into law that formalizes and expands the state's medical marijuana program, further nullifying federal cannabis prohibition in effect. Activist Post reports that last summer, Oklahoma voters approved a measure legalizing medical marijuana in the state. A coalition of 3 Republicans introduced House Bill 2612 on February 4th to create a regulatory structure and establish important patient protections for the state medicinal cannabis program. The Oklahoma House passed the bill on a 93-5 vote. The Senate approved the measure 43-5. With Governor Stitt's signature, the bill will take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns. The new law creates the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority and establishes a registry for qualified patients and their caregivers. It also creates a revolving fund to handle fees, taxes, and fines related to the medical marijuana program. The expanded patient protections written into the bill are significant. Under the law, a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee shall not be denied the right to own, purchase, or possess a firearm, ammunition, or firearm accessories based solely on his or her status as a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
From Betty Davis's first role as a piece of chocolate cake in the 1931 film Palmy Days to the discovery of Niagara Falls in 1996, The Onion looks back at this week in history. On May 16, 1929, the first Academy Awards were handed out in categories such as Greatest Achievement in Blackface, Best Catholic Whipping Scene, and Most Gorgeous Gams on a Broad. The highlight of the night occurred when Wings won the award for Best Picture without a single Dago, Tar Baby, or Wetback. And on May 15th, 1940, the first McDonald's opened in San Bernardino, California, back when a young Grimace was just working as a cashier. And that was what happened this week in history. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, history is actually pretty racist.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, broadcasting from the Liberty Radio studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. And I am your host, Aria DiMezzo, joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton
of BitcoinHistory.com. And I don't know about you, but I have had a hell of a week.
It sounds like you've had a hell of a day today, too. Or hell of a week today.
Yeah. Well, let's recap, shall we? Okay. Tuesday, I received a call. Oh, I have chlamydia. Last night, actually, I found out that I have been, in fact, friend-zoned by the person I've spent the last, 2 months chasing after.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that was brutal. And today, but life goes on, so I had to go to Walmart to pick up some cat food. And as I was coming out, I noticed a rather large bulge coming out of one of my tires. Oops. And as I approached it to get a closer look, and because, I was going to get into it to drive home, I saw a lot of wires and crap like that exposed, and this huge bulbous blob on the side. It was clearly about to blow out. I didn't even want to drive it to the tire warehouse.
Yeah, that's not the kind of thing you want to see when you look at your car tire, because it's going to go any minute now.
Yeah. I was certainly not getting on the highway at that point. So I went and got that taken care of, and they were like, well, it's going to be about an hour and a half if you want to wait. I was like, my phone's dead. I'm not sitting here for an hour and a half doing nothing, staring at the wall.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just going to walk home. It's not that far anyway. And like 15 minutes from being at the house, like literally I could see the house, but there's that hill there, so it takes a minute to actually walk it. Some truck blew its horn at me, like repeatedly, like I was in the way or something. And then pulled into this gas station. It's not a gas station. It's an oil company, like right near where we live. And so I continued walking. He rolled his window down. He yelled something. It was obvious he was offering me a ride.
Right.
But I couldn't hear him over all the traffic, so I continued approaching.
Okay.
And he said something else, and I didn't hear what it was. So I said, I'm sorry. And he goes, oh, you're an effing guy. And
oh, my God.
And he rolls up his window real quick, right? And at this point, I am roaring with laughter because it was, and I don't know why. I couldn't explain to anyone what was so freaking funny about that, but it was hilarious.
Oh, you don't have to explain. I get it.
And he holds up his hands like, what's so funny? I was like, you.
You're so funny.
So I walked around the truck, right? I'm not dealing with this. I've got too much going on to be dealing with this. Checking for reverse lights because this guy has clearly revealed himself to be not exactly friendly.
Yeah.
And when I was about 40 to 50 feet from the truck, he rolled down the passenger side window, blew his horn again. I looked over and he's motioning me toward him. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. And he kept doing it. So I continued backing away, reaching into my purse to unzip the compartment that contains my .38 because I don't know what this guy is thinking, but based on his initial reaction, it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be pleasant.
No, and all of this is in the broad daylight out in this parking lot, right? So it wasn't a huge issue. But finally, when he realized that I wasn't going to come over there because I'm not, a potato, he flipped me off, rolled his window up, and peeled off.
Oh, I was just like, what a nice person.
What the hell just happened?
Yeah.
So that was my day.
His life. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at least amusing. I actually went back on Facebook just to tell that story when I got back home because it was.
Yeah. That's too wild, but it's
nice to know that I was passable right up until I spoke. So I mean,
so
there was some silver lining in that.
Well, I mean, you're passable.
To a degree, I would agree. But anyway, we do have stuff to go over today.
Yeah,
beyond,
actual news and things.
The most interesting one that you brought up was actually about the trigger warnings, I would say, and the new study that reveals that they are effectively useless. Now, this isn't a surprise. I would suggest that the best way to work through trauma is not to avoid anything that might associate those negative feelings, but to actually work through that trauma. I'm not a psychologist, but I would
Makes
guess
sense to me. I mean, that's what they tell everybody to do is face your fears.
Yeah, I would guess that that's going to yield a healthier person than the sort of person who hears a trigger warning and runs to hide in the closet. That's not a healthy person to me. That's a coward who's afraid of their own emotions.
And it's fine, I guess, if you have a fear of something, then it's fine to be afraid, but you know, that is something you can face and deal with.
It is. I'm claustrophobic. I don't ride elevators because of it. I will walk up 45 flights of stairs before I ride an elevator.
Oh, my.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's not a fear I have any intention of actually facing. But I would say that's
also not something that you usually is causing you a problem in your life.
Right. It's very rarely an issue. And usually because I take stairs 2 or 3 at a time, I get up these stairs faster than people who ride the elevator. Yeah. But I've had what many people would characterize as a traumatic past. And I don't think there was ever any potential benefit in hiding from that or ignoring it or pretending like none of it happened.
No, it's certainly not going to help you.
And that seems to be what the ultimate goal of trigger warnings is to allow people to just block out large parts of their past so that they don't have to deal with them. And we're talking about people for whom trigger warnings or PTSD, as they characterize it, is really just them having emotions that they are afraid to process. Like, I've seen people saying that they have PTSD triggered by debates because their parents used to argue.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and I'm like, then everybody has PTSD. You show me parents who don't argue, and I will show you at least one of those parents who is dead.
Indeed.
But PTSD is the big thing, and everybody wants to claim to have it. And trigger warnings, ideally, are to allow people with genuine PTSD to not be triggered, right?
Right.
Like a Vietnam vet being triggered by firecrackers. That's PTSD. You might want to give that person a trigger warning. Oh, we're about to blow up this firecracker. You're not being shot at by the Viet Cong, right?
Right.
But now they've been sort of warped into this anything that might be emotionally jarring to you, we have to prepare you for so that you can run and hide instead of dealing with it like an actual adult.
Right.
And there is a study now that shows that that mentality as a whole is effectively useless. Coming to us from Reason, trigger warnings, notes of caution that inform students they are about to consume potentially traumatic course material have trivial effects on mental health, according to this new study. It casts significant doubt on whether the... I'm about to sneeze.
Cast significant doubt on whether the controversial classroom tool should be used. Now, that's interesting that they should mention that trigger warnings actually originated on college campuses.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so.
Well, I'm not surprised. Not really, because safe spaces originated on college campuses too.
So-called safe spaces.
And we thought that was a joke, right? When it was first mentioned, we were like, okay, this has to be a joke. This is too absurd.
Yeah, it's totally ridiculous, but it's completely real.
Apparently, the study, which recently appeared in Clinical Psychological Science, pushes back against the findings of Harvard University researchers who suggested that trigger warnings might actually be a net negative that can make some people less resilient to trauma.
Yeah, and
shocking.
If that's the case, then nobody should be getting trigger warnings for anything.
No, I mean it's just basic life, you know. If something is going to, like, let's take playing the guitar for example. You're going to get calluses on your fingers, right?
Right.
Those first few weeks, it's going to hurt, you know, but you're going to build up those calluses and it's not going to bother you after that. I would suggest that trigger warnings and trauma have the same basic thing behind them. And what these trigger warnings do is they prevent people from growing the calluses, as it were, that would prevent them from additional harm.
Well, prevent people from actually healing those open wounds that they've got, prevent them from healing.
Exactly. But they don't really leave anyone worse off, according to the new research, but they certainly don't help anyone. And we're going to get further into the research when we get back, so don't go anywhere. This is The Call to Freedom.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom. You're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you would prefer a clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And speaking of giving us a call, we're joined now by Perry. Perry, you said you wanted to talk about yesterday's show. What were your thoughts about it?
Oh, I'm so excited, first of all, in numerous ways to actually be on the telefono here. Let me just say, yesterday's show, as interesting as this thing is, and by the way, that was my cousin that was yelling out you out of the car. His name is Ronnie. He could be a little shy with the girl. You'll have to excuse him. Just get in the truck next time. But yesterday's show was so hot about those STDs. Oh, girl, can I share some of my STDs with you?
No, I'm good on that. You can share some of your STD stories with me.
Oh, certainly. Or should I say, squirtingly? I am, of course, a lifetime member of the Democratic Party, if you can't already tell. Now, I have AIDS, gonorrhea, the clap, TB, whooping cough, genital herpes, and anal warts, and they are fabulous. I've spread them to at least 2,000 men. I love gift giving. I was started out as a little bug-chasing twink, and I really just think that we need...
Okay, that was... sorry, Perry. That was, first of all, that was obnoxious, and it runs totally counter to the spirit of what we were actually trying to do yesterday. So we did hang up on you. You're welcome to call back when you pull yourself together. But
and visit the clinic and get that taken care of.
Yeah, we're certainly against everything he just said.
Oh my.
Getting back to trigger warnings, that was a waste of time.
Yeah, he should have given us a trigger warning.
Yeah. Apparently, they don't really leave anyone any worse off, according to the new research from the University of Waikato and the City University of New York. But they don't help either. Study participants who received a trigger warning were just as bothered by traumatic words and images as participants who saw the words and images without any foreshadowing.
Ooh.
Now, I thought the point of the trigger warning was to allow the person to leave so that they didn't have to experience these things in the first place.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it was. So maybe this research isn't doing as much good as we thought it might. But yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, to go, okay, this content may trigger some of you. If you, here's the content. It doesn't, obviously that's not going to be any more effective than just showing them the content.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
The point I would have assumed about the trigger warning is for people to leave rather than to be triggered. In which case I would have thought the study would ask the question of, are these people who are leaving any better off than the people who are staying?
That's a good question.
But the study involves 6 experiments and exposure to both disturbing written material and video clips. Researchers also asked participants about their previous experience with traumatic episodes, but determined that trigger warnings were effectively useless, even for people with a history of trauma. I would argue that they're especially useless for people with a history of trauma.
Indeed. You've got a point there. If you're not using the trigger warning to avoid things, then yeah, it's totally useless. And if you are using the trigger warning to avoid things, you're not emotionally growing or emotionally healing. You're just keeping that wound open and picking at the scab when it tries to heal up.
Absolutely. The study's editor was Scott Lilienfeld, a clinical psychologist at Emory University whose past work on microaggression theory, which he found lacking in scientific rigor, was terrific. I want to look at this microaggression theory research.
Yeah, I didn't look at that. So.
Trigger warnings may, because my perspective is that microaggression is things invented by people who are not actually victims, but who want to wear their nice little victim badge anyway. And this whole microaggression thing allows them to do that. Oh, you don't actually have to be a victim anymore. Everybody gets to be a victim
Everybody
now.
gets to be offended.
Trigger warnings may still be of use to students who want foreshadowing of potential traumatic material so that they can skip class altogether.
Yep, there you go.
But the authors caution that college students are increasingly anxious, and widespread adoption of trigger warnings in syllabi may promote this trend, tacitly encouraging students to turn to avoidance, thereby depriving them of opportunities to learn healthier ways to manage potential distress.
Thank you very much.
At the very least, it would seem that mandatory trigger warnings, which is a common demand of student activists, are not worth the effort.
Indeed. You know, again, he's got a point there that people who are avoiding things that might trigger them because they received a trigger warning are certainly not going to, what do you say, learn healthier ways to manage potential distress. If you've had an issue in your past, I've had my share of traumas, I don't care about trigger warnings. I don't want them. I just give me life as it is. I've moved on past my issues for the most part.
In discussing microaggressions, I've got that pulled up now. At Oberlin College, students interested in social justice can apply for a job teaching their classmates about microaggressions and the nature of oppression.
Oh.
So a bunch of spoiled white kids are going to teach other spoiled white kids about the nature of oppression. That ought to be great.
Oh, yeah. That
what
ought
could
to work.
possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
The position, here's the best part, is called Social Justice Education Facilitator. It pays $8.15 an hour. Now, the reason
for an on-campus job for an undergrad, that's pretty good.
It is, but I would expect such a virtue signaling position to pay a minimum of $15 per hour. You know,
yeah, you got a point.
In solidarity with the $15 minimum wage demands. That it pays barely over half that is hilarious to me. I don't even know that. Yeah, that doesn't even fit. That doesn't even match minimum wage in certain municipalities.
No, well, this is Ohio. I don't think they have a state minimum wage there. But
it requires knowledge on the various forms of oppression, including, but not limited to, race, gender, sexuality, ability, class, citizenship, etc., according to the listing on the college's website. Now, I certainly don't support discriminating against disabled people, but discrimination on the basis of one's ability is very, very good, I would argue.
How's that?
Well, and again, this is not about ableism or disableism. It's about, if I'm hiring somebody for a job, their ability to do that job is paramount.
Right.
Right. I would be discriminating against people who were not qualified if they did not have the ability to do that job, and I therefore refuse to hire them.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a problem.
And there are people out there who argue that it's discrimination if you don't hire someone simply because they're not able to do the job. So students will be expected to help run the multicultural resource centers and other things. And we're going to get into the research about the failures of microaggressions when we get back. This is The Call to Freedom.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Free Talk Live.
To be free is to be clear-headed.
I do encourage people.
Somebody gets down and smokes a joint and gets high. They sit on the couch and they turn into a blob.
Yeah, well, I don't think you know much about people that smoke pot, Christy.
Right. Yeah, Christy.
They procrastinate. That's what you guys were talking about on your show tonight. About legalizing
then Christy, then what I can say then is the people that don't smoke pot make sweeping generalizations, because you just did. It seems like the vast majority of humans use some kind of substance throughout their day or week.
Not Christy. She doesn't.
Well,
what a sad state of affairs.
Do you have a cup of coffee in the morning, Christy?
And at this time in our history, if that's
we've always done it, Christy. It's been done throughout humans. People, how many people do you know, Christy, that can't function without a cup of coffee?
Well, you have to have a piece of bread to live, to survive.
We're not talking about food.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom and the Rational Review News Digest, located at www.rationalreview.com, is the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, blogs, and news articles, and are now a source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out at rationalreview.com to stay up to date on all the happenings in the wider world. And we've been having a discussion about the futility of trigger warnings and the failures of microaggressions. We actually haven't gotten to the theory behind microaggressions, but it's apparently that unintentional insults based on race, sex, or another protected status
everything's a protected status these days,
is woefully inadequate and lacks scientific rigor. Scott Lilienfeld, a clinical psychologist at Emory University, took a close look at the core assumptions that undergird the academic understanding of microaggressions and concluded that there should be a moratorium on microaggression training. There is insufficient justification for concluding that the potential benefits of microaggression training programs outweigh their potential risks, including a substantial increase in the number of false positive identifications of statements as microaggressions. Now, this is something I've encountered extensively on social media, notoriously Facebook. Adam Bates has accused me so many times of microaggressions against LGBT people.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Bates has accused you of micro. Like, do you have an example? What is he?
Not in front of me. I had to block him long ago. Shipley has done the same, essentially arguing that by confronting Cantwell on Shemale versus Nazi Friday night, I was toying with the lives of LGBT people.
What?
I don't remember exactly how he put it, but it was something to the effect of, Aria is more than welcome to risk her own life and throw her life away or something like that, but she's not allowed to risk the LGBT community's lives. I don't remember how he put it. I'll have to pull it up.
If they're going to smoke stuff, they need to stick with cannabis because whatever they're smoking is not helping them.
I mean, it was definitely as stupid as you would expect it to be, but essentially what he was accusing me of was microaggressions. And
nothing micro about this aggression. You're an idiot.
Yeah, it's absurd to think that microaggressions are, first of all, avoidable in the sense that they characterize microaggressions to exist, which is saying something that's inadvertently racist or that's subtly racist or that isn't overtly racist but still causes racism to happen. I don't know exactly what criteria they use to determine what is and isn't a microaggression. It seems to be just whether or not they're butthurt, which I would have to point out is not a good criteria to determine things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be butthurt because I stuck a stick up your, but
or because you ate too much habanero sauce.
Oh yeah, that
will certainly do it. But the underlying assumption is that, you know, we're all part of these groups, whether we like it or not. And so anything that an individual does necessarily has an impact on that group. And to a certain degree, I agree with the sentiment because Tiffany, the Supermam, the GameStop chick, she did real harm to the LGBT community. Not real harm, that's a loaded expression. She harmed the image of all trans people when she went on that, you know, hulking tirade at GameStop.
Ma'am.
Yeah. That was not good for the perception of trans people in the eyes of the ordinary American,
but what she was triggered, does that count as a microaggression though?
Oh, calling her sir?
Right.
Absolutely. That may even count in their eyes as real aggression, as a macro aggression, as it were. I don't know exactly how they would characterize it, but yeah, it's certainly something they get upset about, as you can see from the GameStop flip out video.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
It was a good one. It's not safe for radio play. Of course, I spoofed it. I went to our own GameStop here in Keene, New Hampshire, and I wasn't even going to do it because we actually weren't there to purchase anything, it turned out. And I was just there to make a scene, which bothered me. But as we were leaving, they said, "Have a good afternoon, guys." And I was like, nope, it's got to happen. Has to happen. And it did, and it was great, and a lot of people laughed. And it got me banned from Facebook again for like the third time this year.
Yeah, you're on a roll.
I was. The video was reinstated, but that time I was kept banned. The most recent time was for pointing out to somebody that wanting all Nazis dead is no better than saying they want all Jews dead. And that got me banned. But
briefly?
That was, yeah, briefly.
Wasn't that overturned?
I was back about 24 hours later, yeah. But, you know, it's just a bunch of triggering people, really, and committing these microaggressions that offend them.
Okay, so if you're offended because somebody pointed out facts or whatever, that's microaggression.
Essentially. Finally, I found Mike Shipley's comment. He says, "This is about Shemale versus Nazi. This is troglodyte level stuff. I totally agree, dude. It was a crap show from beginning to end. Long before we went on the air, I was like, this is the crap show to end all crap shows. You don't want to miss it."
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point.
He says, we don't put Nazis on stages as if their ideas are debatable, as if the audience could be making a rational decision between literal fascism and orthodox ANCAPism. Then again, what's the difference? Obviously, Shipley is not an anarcho-capitalist.
Obviously not.
But for real, there's a reason the old parties keep the LP out of debates. Because deplatforming works. Failing to use such a simple and effective method is being careless with the lives of degenerates. And I don't care if Aria technically is too. She can be careless with her own life. She doesn't get to be careless with the rest of ours too.
What is he on?
He is on socialism.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then we should apply his. If he wants us to deplatform everyone with bad ideas, then we need to deplatform him too.
Yeah, Cantwell has been deplatformed extensively.
If Nazis should be deplatformed, then so should socialists.
I would agree, because socialists have killed. Well,
socialists have killed like tens of times more people than Nazis.
Yeah, I mean they called themselves. I mean, the Nazis were socialists.
Yeah, but they were national socialists. Here's the deal. Here's the difference between Nazis and socialists. Nazis killed people because they were Jews and homosexual and whatever other groups Hitler didn't like. Socialists killed people because they disagreed with them and because they were Jews and other people that Stalin didn't like.
Sounds about right, yeah. I don't know how many Jews Stalin actually killed, but I know there were like 25 million farmers who were killed by the Stalin administration.
Famine, I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah. It's certainly not an ideology that I would like to see repeated here in the United States.
Oh, but there are people who are just chomping at the bit to have socialism actually implemented so that they can start killing people.
Yeah, well, I think they're dumber than that. I don't think that's actually the reason they want to see it implemented. I think they genuinely believe that it will somehow help. I think this is a failure in logic.
It's a failure in education too. If people believe that, because there's so much evidence that you basically have to be a flat earther to think that socialism would work.
Well, in theory, it could. But it comes back to that question of, yeah, okay, but you need only good moral people who are actually going to fulfill these ideas to be the ones in power. And that's totally, that's more unrealistic than anarcho-capitalism. And we'll be back with more of this discussion. Don't go anywhere. This is the Call to Freedom. We're going to continue talking about the futility of trigger warnings.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and maybe you want to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them. Maybe bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a bonus. If you've ever wanted to enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which can be found at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included. But for a limited time, you can order your copies and use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. That's thinbluelinegame.com. And moving forward with this discussion about microaggressions and trigger warnings, a study from 2015, a new poll, in fact, so it's kind of old, but it's along the same veins, shows that most students favor mandatory trigger warnings and stricter speech codes.
Oh, that's scary.
Reason characterizes it as a depressing new poll, demonstrates the extent to which open contempt for free expression has become the default position of college students. A slim majority of surveyed students support regulating permissible speech on campus, and 63% believe trigger warnings should be mandatory. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on the university that they're, polling.
Right.
If you poll the University of California, Berkeley, you're going to get drastically different results than you would if you polled Keene State College here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's mostly different results.
You're going to get enormously different results. I know a lot of people who are currently enrolled in Keene State, and they are far more libertarian than people even in the South. They're not likely to put up with this sort of SJW nonsense. That's according to a forthcoming study in New Criterion's November issue. To put some numbers behind the perception, the William F. Buckley Jr. program at Yale recently commissioned a survey from blah, 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 blah. Some 800 students at a variety of colleges across the country were surveyed. That's not a lot of students either. The results, although not surprising, are nevertheless alarming. By a margin of 51% to 36%, students favor their school having speech codes to regulate speech for students and faculty. 63% favor requiring professors to employ trigger warnings to alert students to material that might be discomforting. 1/3 of the students polled could not identify the First Amendment as part of the Constitution that dealt with free speech.
That's scary.
35% said that the First Amendment does not protect hate speech, while 30% of self-identified liberal students say the First Amendment is outdated.
Oh, my.
That is absolutely scary. Yeah, they are right in their characterization of that.
But 800 students is not a lot, but that's enough to give you about a 3.5% margin of error. So it's enough.
Yeah, it's too many. It is certainly too many. I don't know what part of the Constitution deals with free speech. How do you not know that?
You went to public school in the USA?
I went to public school in the USA, and we're not typical.
Yeah, but you're slightly older than today's college students.
True.
It's getting worse over time.
We should be clear about what these results mean, writes Reason. It is not merely the case that most students like trigger warnings and think responsible faculty ought to include them. No, students think trigger warnings should be mandatory. Their concerns about the emotional needs, real or perceived, of their classmates comes first. The faculty's free speech rights comes second.
Ooh.
That's a nice and succinct way to put it, and that's ultimately the truth of what all of these microaggressions and trigger warnings are about. It's this underlying assumption that my feelings, you have to respect them, you have to acknowledge them, and you have to accommodate them.
I can't be allowed to feel bad for any reason ever.
No, and it's the fault of the outside world that they feel bad rather than their own internal emotions.
I need to be wrapped up in a little emotional bubble and protected from everything.
Yeah, and that won't work because emotions are, by definition, internal things. One of my favorite expressions is that nobody can make you feel anything. And that's 100% true. Emotionally, nobody can make you feel anything. Obviously, they can chop your arm off and make you feel pain.
Right.
That's different. We're talking about emotionally. No one can emotionally make you feel anything.
Isn't your emotion just your own internal reaction to something?
Yeah, it's your own internal reaction to external stimulus.
Is it within your control then, entirely?
Well, I don't know. I control my emotions very, very well, I would like to think. But I don't think I have any control over what emotions I actually feel. I think my control is more or less limited to what I do as a result of those emotions.
How you respond.
Yeah. Like the being friend zone thing, I can't really change that hurts, right?
Right.
But I can change what I allow that hurt to cause me to do. And I think that sort of tempering one's emotions, that sort of, okay, this is just an emotion, I need to keep it under control relatively. A lot of people would describe emotion as a fire. And the idea of controlling your emotions and things like that is to put it in a room with a concrete floor and steel walls so it can't cause any damage.
Mm-hmm.
But what these liberals do, because they're not learning emotional temperance or any sort of healthy way of dealing with emotions, is to just let the fire burn their entire house down rather than quarantining it to a fireproof area.
Okay.
And of course, I have music for that. If I really need to be sad about something, I'll just grab a guitar and be sad about it. And you can hear that in the music bed that played a moment ago. I did not realize how depressed that song sounds. It's a beautiful song. Don't get me wrong. It's my best work ever. But it sounds seriously depressed. So I'm probably going to ask Ian to remove that when he gets the chance.
That's probably a good idea. We probably shouldn't have too many depressing things on the show if we can avoid it.
No. But, you know, there are healthy ways of dealing with one's emotions. Writing poetry, writing music, or just talking about them is a healthy way of dealing with emotions.
That's one of the best ways to do it, is just to to find a friend or somebody and talk about it.
Yep.
A therapist if you don't have any friends.
Yeah, well, I like to think everybody has at least one friend that they could open up to. That's where I drop the ball, is that I don't talk about my emotions to other people.
You probably have more than one friend you could open up to, but a lot of people just don't.
I don't.
Well, they have the friends, but they don't think they do.
Excellent point. Yeah, most people are willing to lend an ear to somebody who is genuinely, in pain or genuinely going through something emotional. Most people aren't going to be, look, I don't have time for this. I mean, even most strangers would probably be willing to just sit down and listen to you if you, are crying out on a park bench or something.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I mean, people aren't that horrible. People suck. I hate people. I do. I hate human beings. They are stupid earth monkeys, and I generally want nothing to do with any of them. But they are not absolutely that bad.
Yeah, not all bad, huh?
No, they're just stupid. That's my main criticism with human beings. Because, I mean, the average IQ is like 110 or something like that. And from my point of view, that's stupid. I don't know.
I thought the average was supposed to be 100.
Oh, see? Yeah, that's even worse.
And that's even... And what should scare you is that apparently half the people are stupider than that.
Yeah, by definition, right? I mean, just playing the odds there, half the people you encounter are dumber than the average person. Now, just think for a moment how horrifically stupid the average person is. That, rather than dealing with their emotions in a healthy and positive way, they want to run and hide in a closet and play with bubbles and coloring books. That's stupid, right?
Yeah, for us it is.
It is. It's emotionally immature as well. It's not fair to categorize that as stupid as much as it is emotionally immature, but it is stupid to operate under the assumption that socialism is going to fix things here in the United States, or that,
it won't.
Hate speech is not free speech. I will tell you right now, I'm sorry, Sunshine, hate speech is free speech. As Ron Paul said during one of the 2012 or 2016 debates, we don't have the First Amendment so you can sit on the porch and talk about the weather. We have it so that you can say controversial things. Among those controversial things is hate speech. This doesn't mean you have to listen to somebody spouting hate speech. This doesn't mean you have to do a show with them. It doesn't mean you have to allow them on your platform like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or any of these others. But it means that if you are the government, you cannot stop them from saying it.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. And if you're in one of these state-run institutions, like a university or a college, most of which are just barely not technically part of the literal state, then the First Amendment should apply.
Well, the state college pretty much is an arm of the state.
They are. And we'll be back. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to dig further into this insane mindset.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,307. Silver opened at $15.32. And Bitcoin is trading around $4,015. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, for the second time in a year, a jury has ruled that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer was a factor in causing a man's cancer. On Tuesday, a jury in San Francisco found that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer played a significant role in contributing to 70-year-old Edwin Hardeman's cancer. Hardeman used Roundup on his 56-acre Sonoma County property for decades before he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2015. The Mind Unleashed reports a unanimous verdict concluded a trial that may determine the future of thousands of similar lawsuits filed against biotechnology giant Monsanto. CBS News reports that U.S. District Court Judge Vince Carbria controversially split Hardeman's trial into two phases, with the first phase exclusively focused on scientific facts. Judge Carbria chose to ignore evidence of apparent corporate misbehavior by Monsanto representatives because he said it was a distraction from the scientific question of whether Roundup causes cancer. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And listen up, Liberty Beat listeners. Right now, you can save 10% off your purchase by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. A bus full of school children in Italy was set on fire by its driver in the outskirts of Milan on Wednesday. The Mind Unleashed reports it happens in protest of migrants who have drowned due to the country's hardline stance on blocking migrant vessels. Reuters reports that police were called to the scene and quickly managed to get everyone to safety before arresting the man. The driver, a 47-year-old Singhalese-born Italian with a criminal record, reportedly shouted, quote, "Stop the deaths at sea. I'll carry out a massacre," end quote. That's according to police spokesman Marco Palmieri. All of the children were able to escape before the bus was completely engulfed in flames. One child told reporters the man had threatened to pour gas on them and set them ablaze. Last Thursday, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill into law that formalizes and expands the state's medical marijuana program, further nullifying federal cannabis prohibition in effect. Activist Post reports that last summer, Oklahoma voters approved a measure legalizing medical marijuana in the state. A coalition of 3 Republicans introduced House Bill 2612 on February 4th to create a regulatory structure and establish important patient protections for the state medicinal cannabis program. The Oklahoma House passed the bill on a 93-5 vote. The Senate approved the measure 43-5. With Governor Stitt's signature, the bill will take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns. The new law creates the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority and establishes a registry for qualified patients and their caregivers. It also creates a revolving fund to handle fees, taxes, and fines related to the medical marijuana program. The expanded patient protections written into the bill are significant. Under the law, a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee shall not be denied the right to own, purchase, or possess a firearm, ammunition, or firearm accessories based solely on his or her status as a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the conscious resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The couple told reporters this week that they routinely urge their son Patrick to devote all of his time and resources to his improv comedy education.
We keep telling Patrick again and again that if you don't buckle down and start learning basic concepts like yes and the Herald now, nobody is going to take you seriously later in life.
He has to start thinking about this now.
The parents explained that he should try to get as much out of his improv training as possible by attending improv jams, forming a few indie teams, and doing as much bar prov as possible to keep himself warm for those upcoming Herald auditions.
The fact is, if Patrick were on stage with his fellow improvisers, and one of them were to play, say, a supervillain who's afraid of mice, Patrick wouldn't even be able to identify the game in that scene, let alone respond in a supportive way.
I gotta say, I had this internship at a law firm, but I quit to do a character workshop and a musical elective. I think this is really gonna pay off for me in the long run.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is The Call to Freedom, and I am your host, Aria DiMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com, and I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And we're going to move on now to a story about our favorite stupid tech company, Facebook.
Oh, what has Facebook done today?
They have stored hundreds of millions of user passwords in plain text for years.
Okay, that is like capital sin number one for IT security in your application.
Yeah, that's absolutely shocking. Hundreds of millions of Facebook users had their account passwords stored in plain text, according to KrebsonSecurity.com, and searchable by thousands of Facebook employees, in some cases going back to 2012. Facebook says an ongoing investigation has so far found no indication that employees have abused access to this data.
Well, probably not, because they could get all your data anyway. But
they are probing a series of security failures in which employees built applications that logged unencrypted password data for Facebook users and stored it in plain text on internal company servers. That's according to a senior Facebook employee who is familiar with the investigation and who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak to the press.
That's the way you usually get this info.
The Facebook source said that the investigation so far indicates between 200 million and 600 million Facebook users may have had their account passwords stored this way, searchable by more than 20,000 Facebook employees. Now, as an IT person, I like there to be walls between data.
Yeah.
I don't understand why passwords in any format were ever available to the average Facebook employee.
You have access to this project and this project and this project because you're working on them, but you don't have access to that and that because you're not working on them.
Right. And I've set up a lot of credit card processing systems for clients, and one of the cardinal rules is that you don't store the credit card information on the actual units that are processing the credit cards.
Right. You don't store that stuff.
No, it gets sent in the background to a server that is not connected to the internet using various routers and LAN setups and things like that. It's not really hard to do. But you basically segregate it from the rest of the world, and that is where you store this extremely important data.
Right.
Now, they had other issues in that their QuickBooks passwords used their company name, and it's so much worse than that. I wouldn't even want to get fully into it, but their usernames were their first names. Their passwords to their computers were their first names.
That's scary.
Like 5 of the office administrators had their computers open via RDP using the default ports.
This is getting so frightening.
Yeah, and you know, they thought this was acceptable. Obviously, it was not. I disagreed. My Facebook insider said access logs showed that some 2,000 engineers or developers made about 9 million internal queries for data elements that contained plain text user passwords.
Lovely.
The longer we go into this analysis, the more comfortable the legal people at Facebook are going with the lower bounds. What? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Right now, they're working on an effort to reduce the number even more by only counting things we have currently in our data warehouse. That's
okay.
That's a supremely unhelpful statement there. In an interview with Krebs on security, Facebook software engineer Scott Renfro said the company wasn't ready to talk about specific numbers, such as the number of Facebook employees who could have accessed the data. He said, "We've not found any cases so far in our investigations where someone was looking intentionally for passwords. Nor have we found signs of misuse of this data."
So all the employees that did these internal queries and got passwords, they just came back by accident.
Yeah, and they were totally trustworthy employees. You know, they totally did background checks. In this situation, absolutely none of them were sold on the dark web. Certainly not.
Nope.
In this situation, what we found is these passwords were inadvertently logged, but that there was no actual risk that's come from this. How do you accidentally log someone's password? Now, I'm not a hardcore programmer. I have dabbled. I don't recall ever accidentally creating a program that would log someone's password accidentally.
Yeah, it's you have to intend to log. You have to intend to log a web post request or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you have to actually ask for that data in order for your program to get it.
Right.
I mean, it has to be expecting it, right? It's not like they could have accidentally been logging people's passwords instead of their birthdays. I mean, they could have, and that would be somewhat plausible. Oh, we misspelled birthday and accidentally wrote user.password, whatever.
Oops.
But that's not... That would be horrifically stupid. Almost as stupid as the Koinami desktop app sending its magical key phrases to Google.
Sending the seed phrase to Google for spell checking. Yeah, that was
plain
ridiculous
text.
too. Yeah, in plain text
and over HTTP as well.
Oh my!
Not even HTTPS.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh yeah, it was a total mess. Both GitHub and Twitter were forced to admit similar stumbles in recent months, but in both of those cases, the plain text user passwords were available to a relatively small number of people and for far shorter periods of time. Renfro said the issue first came to light in January of this year when security engineers reviewing some new code noticed passwords were being logged in plain text. This prompted the team to set up a small task force to make sure we did a broad-based review of anywhere this might be happening. We have a bunch of controls in place to try to mitigate these problems, and they only failed for the last 7 years.
Right.
But, of course, they didn't say that. I'm pointing that out for them. And we're in the process of investigating long-term infrastructure changes to prevent this going forward. We're now reviewing any logs we have to see if there has been abuse or other access to that data.
Now, I'm one of the very few people, apparently, who has two-factor auth on my Facebook account.
Yeah, I don't bother with mine. I mean, my Facebook stuff is just not that important to me.
Are you just crap posting then?
I mean, you've seen it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty accurate description.
Crap posting, streaming your Zelda, managing your page, whatever.
Yeah, that's the only reasons I still have Facebook is for the memes and to manage the web pages.
Okay, well, all we need now is another site where we can all just post memes all day and share them with each other, and we can get rid of Facebook.
Yeah, let's call it memebook.com.
I am all over it.
Let's do it. It's perfect, because that's all Facebook is now anyway, except for the censorship-heavy parts.
Yeah.
It's just memes.
Yeah. And
that's all I
news
want.
Stories sometimes. But
all I want are funny memes. And I get them. One of my coworkers is one of the best sources for these. He's got all kinds of stupid crap. But yeah, it's just crap posting.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So I don't really keep my Facebook locked down. I keep other important things locked down, but not Facebook.
You know, Facebook, for a lot of people, it is kind of important to keep Facebook locked down because they use their Facebook login to log into other websites.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I don't think my Facebook account is tied to any other
Mine is
websites.
not. Mine is. I even have a unique email address that's only used for Facebook.
Oh, really? I don't. My email address is filled with spam.
So you can't look up any of my known email addresses and find my Facebook account.
Well, that's convenient. Well, I mean, for you. It's not convenient for people trying to find you. But Facebook is ridiculous. They are stupid. They really like blocking people for hate speech that isn't hate speech. We do need a new social media platform that is capable of truly competing with Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, Mastodon's really good, and it's very good for competing with Twitter, but it's not very good for competing with Facebook.
Right. Yeah, it's a Twitter competitor.
Right.
Certainly. MySpace was probably the only Facebook competitor that actually still exists. And
and it just kind of self-destructed last week.
Yes, it did. And I'm not happy about it because, everybody's like, oh, well, this doesn't affect anybody. Actually...
You lost a bunch of files.
I lost
a bunch of music.
I lost 3 performances at live shows, and I lost 2 songs that I never was able to put anywhere else.
Oh, my.
And that was MySpace's fault. We'll be back with more tech news and things along those lines, so don't go anywhere. This is the Call to Freedom.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom. You're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160, or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm, to give us a call via Discord, which has better quality. But you can also join in on the chat there because it's always happening, regardless of what is going on here on the show. The on-air room is usually filled with chat about things totally unrelated to what is actually on the air.
Yeah, right now it's Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, which sucks as a show.
Really? I've never watched it.
I don't blame Ian for being totally unfamiliar with it. It sucks. It's boring. Well, it's that same guy, right, who did Home Movies and Archer, who voiced them.
Okay.
And he's playing exactly the same character, but now he runs a burger joint. So it's exactly the same kind of humor that you would find in Home Movies or Archer. So just watch Home Movies and Archer. You know, both of those are superior. But we're joined now by Gia, who has called the show in the past. Gia, what's on your mind?
Hi, Aria. Hi, Michael. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt the technology talk. I hate Facebook. I can relate. And that's really stupid that they're supposed to be professionals and they can't even, first of all, they store their passwords and they can't even get that right. But anyway, I wanted to talk about New Zealand real quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to the show and I know you guys have been talking about that, but like, I was just so horrified when that happened. And you had some idiot, some garbage bag call in and talk about that he was happy about it, and he's disgusting, and he deserves to be put in jail. You know, this is why hate speech should be illegal, and I'm sorry to say, like, my boyfriend's white, I'm part white, but do you understand now why I've joined Antifa and why white men and white supremacy are the greatest threat to our whole world?
Okay.
I don't.
I'm not laughing.
No, I am, though.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be, because, hon, you'd be a victim of it next, too. Like, I've been. I've been raped by white men. I've had terrible things done to me. And this alt-right is disgusting. And that piece of garbage, Christopher Cantwell, that piece of feces, he should be in prison, too.
Do you carry a gun?
Well, I'm in California, so I'm not really going to answer that.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. I would recommend carrying a gun. If you have been, especially if you have been raped in the past, there's a really quick solution to a potential rapist, and that is shooting them.
With a rape whistle.
But what about...
No, with a
45 caliber rape whistle.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, well, maybe we should have a 45 caliber privilege checker. And, like, you know, like, people like Michael are really nice because they're not forcing their white supremacy onto us, girl, but this is a real threat. Like, 50 Muslims
Michael,
died.
Hold on, Michael,
What?
you are bisexual, are you not?
So they tell me.
What? No, he's not.
He is. We've actually...
We've discussed this on the show briefly at certain points in the past, but yes, I've had relationships with women, and I've had relationships with men, and I've had relationships with I'm not sure.
Them damn cross-dressers.
Yeah,
Oh my
once I
God.
was the damn cross-dresser. So
Well, I know that's fine, no judgment, but like, geez, like everybody in Keene is like, hi, wow.
I'm sure there's a straight person in Keene somewhere. But
New Hampshire, I think, has like the highest ratio of people who are poly, for sure, in the
I've
United
heard that
States. That was one of the 10 reasons you might not want to move to New Hampshire videos. That was one of their 10 reasons. And I got to be honest
10
with
reasons you might not want to move here?
Yeah, exactly. Like they went over this list. Ian talked about it back during the summer when we were all outside smoking one day before a show because it was warm and nice. It was a beautiful freaking day, and he had found this video, 10 reasons why not to move to New Hampshire. And the guy even mentioned in the video, you know, for a lot of you, these will probably be reasons to move to New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Wow. Hey, one more thing before I get off here real soon is I wanted to say one other thing about New Zealand. Is it true that Chris is becoming Christina, or is that just a rumor, Chris Cantwell? Is that why he has no teeth?
That's just a rumor, and we don't know where it came from.
He has no teeth because of Tina. It's not because of
Oh.
Christina.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
it
I
is
knew
because
that.
of Tina.
Tina's a mean drag queen girl. I know a few Tina. Oh, I know the Tina you're talking about. Well, anyway, like, okay, I know you're saying carry weapons and stuff like that, and since I joined Antifa, of course we'll be doing that. But it's like, I just feel like there needs to be safe spaces all around the world, and I'm sorry if I get emotional, but 50 people lost their lives. 50 poor Muslim people that didn't deserve this. That is disgusting, and it's horrible, and you have this scumbag that calls in and is glad, and the alt-right is laughing. I wish they would all die. They're evil.
Well, look, I would definitely agree that it is evil to rejoice in the suffering and the deaths of other human beings.
I'll agree with that.
I think
Unless they're Nazis.
No, I think that statement would include Nazis. Just because you disagree with someone ideologically or politically or even their behavior, I don't think is any reason to actually rejoice in their deaths. And I say this as someone who, you know, has frequently advocated for the shooting of police, and I've clarified that in the past as saying, you know, no, we should not actually shoot police. I'm not happy when police are actually shot.
You know, I'm not. I keep saying this, but you can't kill a bad idea by killing the people who have the bad idea. It just doesn't work.
No, in fact, that's a Rage Against the Machine song. Actually, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but like, if we allow Nazis to just walk around like the rest of us, I mean, look at Trump. Look at, even if some of these people may not be like actual Nazis, they're very close. Like they talk about low IQ.
I don't think he's doing a whole lot of walking around. As I understand it, he pretty much.
That's exactly the point I was about to make. Is that he is absolutely not allowed to walk around like the rest of us. I tried to invite him out to go to a bar to get a drink or something like that, and he was like, I can't. I'm too known here. Somebody will start a fight with me. Somebody will start an issue with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, my thought was, well, not if you're with a trans chick. I mean, really. But, you know, it is a real problem he has just going to the grocery store, things like that. And, I mean, he did make that bed for himself, so I don't have a great deal of sympathy for that. I think that's the social ostracism that I advocate, in fact.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, like, I'm sorry, he's lucky he hasn't had his place Molotov cocktailed. But yeah, like, you know, the thing is that real quick, the alt-right morons, they say like, oh, you know, they blame Jewish people for all these things, and then they also say Jewish people are not white, which I don't understand that at all. But anyway, they say that like, oh, look at what the Jews from what's that thing, the Holodomor?
I have no idea.
No clue.
Yeah.
Gia, thank you for the call. We're going to get back into this discussion about Facebook and the tech news and things like that. Actually, speaking of white supremacists, Michael brought in another story about the white extinction conspiracy theory that I think we absolutely have to get into. So we're going to do that. This is the Call to Freedom.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Terror and confusion fell upon the nation this week after nearly 314 million Americans reported inexplicably losing consciousness for 8 hours straight last night, with countless victims helplessly recovering from the fugue-like state with no memory whatsoever of the lost time. Researchers at Princeton University, who have been studying the alarming phenomenon since its inception, told reporters that though they were unable to ascertain the source of the sweeping condition, it appeared to be somehow linked to the setting of the sun.
Right now, we suspect that there may be some connection between these sudden blackouts and the visions that some Americans have reported experiencing while they were unconscious. But most of these hallucinations are too abstract for us to draw any definite conclusions from.
At this time, we urge people to never turn off their lights and under no circumstances close their eyes for any extended period of... Oh, God. It's happening again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to check us out on social media. You can find us on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN.FM. It's just force of habit. @CTF_LRN. You can find us on Facebook by using @The Call to Freedom. You can find us on Mastodon on the Liberty server using @Call to Freedom. And lastly, we are on Patreon at patreon.com/Call to Freedom. And if you would like to join me in the hotbed of Nazis, you can find me on Gab at gab.ai/Aria DiMezzo.
Oh, wow.
I would recommend everybody doing that because it is a free speech platform, which of course calls the alt-right and Nazis to flock to it. So let's go there and engage in our own free speech.
Free speech? What on earth is that?
But speaking of Nazis, indeed, if you ask the average college student, as we discussed during the first hour, they don't know what it is, but it's certainly not hate speech, they say. And it certainly is protected only by an outdated First Amendment. But according to the white nationalists, right, according to the Cantwell types, to the Rev types and all of that, the white race is under threat.
Yeah, they're in danger of extinction because the white birth rate has plummeted below replacement rate.
It's being called...
That's what I've heard.
It's being called the Great Replacement. It is a racist and misogynistic conspiracy theory, according to the New York Times, that holds that white people face existential decline, even extinction, because of rising immigration in the West and falling birth rates among white women, caused, of course, by feminism.
Oh, of course, because feminism causes everything.
It is. I would certainly agree that we should treat people as individuals rather than as collectives, and that a feminist would be better suited being an individual rather than an individualist rather than a feminist.
Yeah.
Because if you're treating each person independent of their gender or independent of their sexuality, then you're not discriminating against them, obviously, right?
Well, let's go back to Martin Luther King's content of their character.
Yeah, let's do that rather than giving them praise because of one particular skin color, whether they're white, black, or any other nationality or race, and rather than basing it on the characteristic of gender. I don't see any of that to be an improvement if you praise someone or give them benefits for being female instead of discriminating against them and keeping them in the kitchen for being female. To me, it's two sides of the same coin. No. You didn't eliminate the sexism, you just made it more palatable.
Yeah, it's nicer, but it's still sexist.
And that's certainly true in regard to racism as well. We didn't eliminate the racism. We just modified it. But that's pretty much the whole argument. As a bit of rhetoric, the theory is about as deep as the one pushed by flat earthers, though without the group's
scientific rigor, which they don't have any of.
No, but, I do really want to see this reality show of flat earthers sailing around in a boat, looking for the horizon, looking for the edge of the world. I want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see what happens when they fall off.
Netflix is making a series right now, and I suddenly can't think of what it is.
Did you see the...
but it's something I'm really interested in.
I saw the headline that there's going to be a flat earther expedition to Antarctica to look for the edge of the Earth.
Oh, I thought the northern and southern edges of the Earth were not actual edges; they were just ice walls.
I don't know. I guess that's what the expedition is supposed to find.
I don't spend a lot of time asking flat earthers exactly what it is they believe. I did once argue with Flat Earth City extensively about the Coriolis effect and how they were like, you can't see it in fireworks, therefore it isn't true and all of this. I was like, okay, but here's an actual video proof of it existing. Here's the way all of this actually works. Your warped little brain is intentionally trying not to understand it.
Come on, they knew about the Coriolis effect in the Middle Ages when they had to account for it when they were doing their trebuchets and all that.
They did, because they had to know about it. But white people are not going extinct. As a group, they are only maybe, possibly, becoming a smaller share of the population in the United States and Europe. But how much smaller is a wide open question among demographers, because the future is unknowable and demography is an imprecise science.
Indeed. The future is unknowable.
Now, I think the perspective that the alt-right people come at is that Europe and the United States are the lands of white people, right?
That seems to be what they say, yes.
In the same way that, we understand, whether rightfully or wrongly, Africa to be the land of Africans, people who are of dark skin, and Asia to be the land of people who are Asian, right? So if Asia, or let's just stick with Africa, if Africa was to have a large influx of people who weren't black it would diminish the standing of an average black citizen correspondingly, right?
And that's already happened. British colonialization back in a few centuries back.
Sure. Okay, so let's use Asia then. Or, let's just put all of this in a bubble and assume that, and disregard the colonialism for a moment. It would suggest, if these people were coming in great enough numbers, that the power of the black voice in these historically black communities was being nullified by these incoming white voices.
Yep, South Africa, apartheid.
And it's a theory that I think most people, whether they're on the left or they're right, should be able to understand, because it's essentially gentrification. So what the alt-right is arguing is that gentrification is happening to the United States, so to speak, or something that is identical to gentrification, but without the class aspects to it, which is where a different culture is moving in and changing everything and pushing the culture that is already there out.
The thing about that is, in the U.S., that happens every couple of decades. There's a different culture or race or whatever that comes in, with the Irish, the Italians, the Chinese, whoever, and it hasn't had any negative effects. It
certainly hasn't.
It's all been positive.
But even if it has had a negative effect, and even if it's going to have a negative effect, even if we assume that they are 100% right, white people are going to go extinct, why do they care? What does it affect them personally that in 5 generations, when they won't even be alive, they won't have any descendants left? Bitch, why do you care? You'll be dead.
Yeah, you'll be dead. But people do care about their descendants. They do care about preserving their line, whatever it is.
Well, being childless,
having kids, and having grandkids, it's important to people.
I don't understand why.
I don't have kids either, so I'm not the best person to speak about this.
None of us in this room have kids.
Any of us in this whole house have kids.
And I don't think any intention of having children. So obviously, it's not a value that we share. So I guess that's just the ultimate.
See, I'm
about it.
I can't speak on it.
Yeah, nor can I. But inequality is tolerated, and an aggrieved and wealthy political minority can hold sway indefinitely, thanks to the Senate and the Electoral College. Now, that's a position that the white supremacists agree about.
Mm-hmm.
And they think that this aggrieved and wealthy political minority are Jews.
That's what they say.
And Chris Cantwell, the crying Nazi, actually sent me a bunch of pictures earlier, and I have not looked into them, but it's got Jewish stars plastered all over people's faces and things like that. Look,
putting a Jewish star in someone's... Come on. The fact that you can use Photoshop does not make people Jewish.
Well, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that, whoever compiled this actually did, compile only people who were Jews. But as we talked about in Shemel versus Nazi, that none of that is ultimately his issue. He's just using it to mask his real issue. He's missing his own problem, and he's therefore missing the solution. The problem isn't how Jews are controlling the Senate, even if that's the case. The problem is that they're doing things that he doesn't like with their control.
Right.
So get rid of that. Get rid of the control aspect.
Get rid of the control.
Get rid of the state.
Nobody can do anything you don't like with it.
Yeah, and all of those problems almost magically go away. Yeah, this is the Call to Freedom. We're going to get further into white extinction theory, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back. This is the Call to Freedom.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Of course, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160, or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And we are actually joined by Hunter X War via Discord right now, who would like to discuss the subject we've been going over, which is the white extinction theory. So, Hunter, how are you doing today? What's on your mind in regard to the white extinction theory?
I'm doing very well, thank you for asking. My opinion on white extinction, I think that white extinction isn't good because it's good to have diversity. So
I would agree that diversity is certainly good. It's actually necessary. A certain amount of genetic diversity is absolutely necessary in order for a population to sustain itself.
Right.
But we can have this diversity within individualism. In fact, I would say individualism is the only way we can actually achieve any true diversity.
I can understand that, but like still, I understand why people don't want the white race to be extinct. And saying that, I hope you don't stample me as a neo-Nazi, because I surely am not.
No, I don't. You're not speaking like a neo-Nazi, certainly. I don't agree that that the white race should be extinct either. I think that if an individual wants to perpetuate their genetic makeup with another individual, then they should do so.
Yeah, more power to you.
And,
so to speak.
And it would seem, based on what the alt-right is saying, that white people in general are less inclined to do that.
Yeah, I would say so as well, because we have a lot of different things that we can use, for example, condoms and etc. So, and I would say that in more undeveloped countries and probably regions in America, that's probably not as available.
I've read lately that Americans are getting married later and having fewer children overall.
That's an excellent point, though, is that we do have a lot of advancements here in the Western world that are designed to remove the procreation part from sex. And we are biologically designed to want to procreate. It's because of that we have pleasurable orgasms and dopamine releases and all of that.
Right.
And we have invented ways to achieve that without having the implications of
having the kid.
So that's a good point. I'm not sure it's actually. Go ahead.
I would say that's why the white race is getting extinct slowly but surely. Because, for example, if you look at Asia, a lot of undeveloped countries, like people have 7 to 8 children per household, and in Africa they have many kids as well, and they have to give it to other people that can take care of the child because they don't have food.
So would not contraceptives, birth control, and condoms help reduce that sort of overpopulation? And overpopulation is not a word that I'm particularly fond of.
Yeah, is it overpopulation at all, or just?
Well, I mean, it is. If you have more people than you have food,
I know in a lot of
that's literally
areas,
overpopulation.
People have kids, but they also have high child mortality rates. So you might have 7 or 8 kids, but only 2 or 3 of them live to adulthood.
Well, I'm not sure how true that continues to be. It used to be true. I think.
Yeah, I as far as I know, it's not true for most of the world, but there are some places that it's still true.
Interesting. I know that South Korea prior to the Korean War actually had some pretty severe issues with that sort of thing, with high infant mortality rates, and that it has dropped staggeringly since, even during the Korean War. But it wasn't actually the involvement of the Korean War. It actually began prior to that. The last time they really had unusually high infant mortality rates was during the 19th century. And I believe that since then, infant mortality rates throughout the world
have declined
substantially. And there are certainly, you're surely correct, there are certainly still pockets where infant mortality rates are high as a result of lack of food or just inadequate medical care.
So yeah, what I suspect is going to happen over the next 100 years or so is as these areas get more access to, as they develop more, get more access to things like the medicine we have in the West and things like that, that those birth rates also will fall, and they'll become as they become more developed.
May I ask why you don't like the word overpopulation?
Because it's one that leftists like to use to accuse humanity of overbreeding on the planet, and that's not the case. There's plenty of land. There's plenty of arable land. We're not growing nearly the amount of food that we could be. And the technological advancements we have made in agriculture in the last 50 years, and that we are continuing to make with genetically modified food and things like that, is only making food more plentiful and allowing us to sustain a larger population.
Yeah, that's true, but somewhere like the gap is gonna be there someplace. You understand?
Yeah, eventually we may reach a limit, but they thought we had reached a limit in the 60s, and then along comes Norman Borlaug with the Green Revolution, and suddenly we can feed another 1 billion people.
Yeah, but in the 60s, they also thought that, for example, gay people fucking made AIDS. So they...
All right, sorry about that. We got to drop you now, Hunter X. This is a radio show, so we can't allow
Yeah, we have to keep it clean.
F-bombs. Sorry. It was going well right up until that.
It really was going well.
It was a really good conversation. He probably just didn't know that was my fault, for not telling him that prior to going on the air. Really fascinating take on the subject, though, especially in regard to contraceptives and how those may be affecting birth rates. I mean, obviously that's sort of a tautology. That's the point of contraceptives,
right,
is to prevent pregnancy. And in the case of condoms, to prevent the spread of STDs.
That too. But if you don't have if you don't have access to those things in your country because of where you live, they're illegal or they're expensive or whatever, then you're going to have more kids.
You are. And, that sort of perpetuates poverty, it would seem, in these poverty-stricken areas where they end up with too many mouths to feed and not enough food to go around. That, to me, would be the definition of poverty. And having more kids is just going to exacerbate that problem.
That's true.
We could rectify it with these contraceptives and things like that. So I don't know if it's that necessarily that white people need to have a higher birth rate, or if it's just that, we need to make these sorts of things available to people outside of Western society. And when I say white people there, I think that it's probably the case that white people, I'm saying white people, and I mean Western society.
Say people in the West.
Yeah, I'm distracted because we have another caller in line 4, but we don't have time to take him before we go on the air. It's fine, Alpha Hunter. That was totally my fault for not giving you any warning whatsoever about the FCC language filters, obviously. So that was completely my fault. Don't feel bad about it. But contraceptives are a good thing. They've been a net positive for society, I would say. We should definitely have more of them. Not just because they prevent the spread of STIs and STDs, but because they help lower pregnancy rates. And from my perspective, I don't particularly care what the birth rates of white people or black people or Hispanic people are.
Right.
To me, it's more of a question of, is this individual happy and are they pursuing the things they want to be pursuing? If that means having more kids, like our own co-host Will Coley, then more power to them.
Yeah, go have kids.
If they don't want to have kids and they just want to, have largely consequence-free sex, more power to them.
Yeah, let's make that possible.
I would rather not have any particular bloodline die out, as it were, if the people who are within that bloodline want to perpetuate it.
Right, but in order to perpetuate it, you have to have a mate and have kids. And things like, I guess we'll get into incels here in a minute, but incels worrying about their bloodline dying out, it's because your attitude is all wrong.
Well, yeah, and I have no issue, if white parents want to instill into their kids the burning urge to get out there and procreate. I mean, humanity did it for thousands of years.
Yeah, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, that was Christianity's big thing, is get out there and have some babies, dudes. And people did that. And, that's another interesting perspective, is that as Christianity has been on the decline, so has the white birth rate.
You've got a point there. I didn't even think of that.
Because it's no longer about being fruitful and multiplying. It's about having a good time, which, of course, fathers the Christian.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll be back. We're going to keep on with this subject and get further into it. This is the Call to Freedom.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Gold opened the day at $1,307. Silver opened at $15.32. And Bitcoin is trading around $4,015. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, for the second time in a year, a jury has ruled that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer was a factor in causing a man's cancer. On Tuesday, a jury in San Francisco found that Monsanto's Roundup weed killer played a significant role in contributing to 70-year-old Edwin Hardeman's cancer. Hardeman used Roundup on his 56-acre Sonoma County property for decades before he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2015. The Mind Unleashed reports a unanimous verdict concluded a trial that may determine the future of thousands of similar lawsuits filed against biotechnology giant Monsanto. CBS News reports that U.S. District Court Judge Vince Carbria controversially split Hardeman's trial into two phases, with the first phase exclusively focused on scientific facts. Judge Carbria chose to ignore evidence of apparent corporate misbehavior by Monsanto representatives because he said it was a distraction from the scientific question of whether Roundup causes cancer. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And listen up, Liberty Beat listeners. Right now, you can save 10% off your purchase by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting. Your news now continues. A bus full of school children in Italy was set on fire by its driver in the outskirts of Milan on Wednesday. The Mind Unleashed reports it happens in protest of migrants who have drowned due to the country's hardline stance on blocking migrant vessels. Reuters reports that police were called to the scene and quickly managed to get everyone to safety before arresting the man. The driver, a 47-year-old Singhalese-born Italian with a criminal record, reportedly shouted, quote, "Stop the deaths at sea. I'll carry out a massacre," end quote. That's according to police spokesman Marco Palmieri. All of the children were able to escape before the bus was completely engulfed in flames. One child told reporters the man had threatened to pour gas on them and set them ablaze. Last Thursday, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill into law that formalizes and expands the state's medical marijuana program, further nullifying federal cannabis prohibition in effect. Activist Post reports that last summer, Oklahoma voters approved a measure legalizing medical marijuana in the state. A coalition of 3 Republicans introduced House Bill 2612 on February 4th to create a regulatory structure and establish important patient protections for the state medicinal cannabis program. The Oklahoma House passed the bill on a 93-5 vote. The Senate approved the measure 43-5. With Governor Stitt's signature, the bill will take effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns. The new law creates the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority and establishes a registry for qualified patients and their caregivers. It also creates a revolving fund to handle fees, taxes, and fines related to the medical marijuana program. The expanded patient protections written into the bill are significant. Under the law, a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee shall not be denied the right to own, purchase, or possess a firearm, ammunition, or firearm accessories based solely on his or her status as a medical marijuana patient or caregiver licensee. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
After visiting his girlfriend of 2 years at her workplace to deliver an unexpected threat for Valentine's Day, violent and controlling boyfriend Matthew Strachan spoke to The Onion about remaining a devoted and committed abuser.
On a special day like today, I like doing something extra malicious for Mallory, just so she knows that I've been thinking about hurting her. I mean, you should have seen the look on her face when I came and surprised her at work today. It was so great. I mean, she had no idea I was going to come to her office to belittle and frighten her. I mean, I wanted to do it in front of her friends to really humiliate her.
Strachan added that while he doesn't always get a chance to inflict harm on Mallory, he tries his best each and every day to create an environment of sustained physical and emotional abuse to leave her feeling completely alienated and powerless.
Just wait till she sees what I have in store for her tonight. I love Valentine's Day.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. I'm your host, as always, Aria DiMezzo of theanarchistshemale.com, and I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton of cryptotip.org.
Awesome. Alternating them. I like that. And we're joined now via our Discord call-in line, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm, by Jeef, who has thoughts on the topic at hand, which is white extinction. Yeah, thank you. I was looking for the word and not finding it. And the theory behind it, and the New York Times criticizing it as absolutely baseless and lacking the scientific rigor of flat earthers. So, Jeef, what are your thoughts on the subject?
Hello. I am Russian, first of all. And white extinction is total bullshit for my perspective.
Okay, that would be one of those words we talked about prior to coming online that you can't say.
Sometimes it's hard to avoid, but
yeah, we're going to go back to you, but you have to watch the language.
If you're not practiced in watching the language, and that's
it can be difficult because I swear constantly when I'm not on the air.
Yeah, it's very difficult to sometimes.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I didn't know that swear word.
It's okay, yeah.
It is in the U.S.
Yes, I am sorry.
Okay, so
what
you're saying
that,
it's BS, basically.
White extinction is total fiction.
Yeah.
What I want to say.
Well, that certainly seems to be the case that the New York Times is making. So why do you say it's baseless? Why do you say
that
it's fiction?
Because white people don't go anywhere. Like, how do you call Native Americans people? They don't go anywhere after genocide. that happens in the after exploration of North America. They don't go anywhere. So white people don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, there are still Native Americans left. I mean, there are not nearly as many of them as there used to be, and most of them are confined to reservations. But the population, I think, of Native Americans is far less than it used to be.
It's significantly less.
Yes, and what I want to say, is that white people is much more populations than the Native Americans, and they have to face Native Americans have to face genocide, and a lot of people in Europe in the 1940s have to face genocide, and they don't extinct, and white people don't have nothing to fear.
Yeah, I've never. They've tossed around the term white genocide, but I've never heard of any actual white genocide ever happening.
Yeah, genocide is being used colloquially in that sense. They don't mean that white people are being rounded up and killed. What they're arguing and what they're calling extinction and genocide is essentially this idea that white people are not having enough kids to sustain the existence of the white population. Say. Just to keep it simple, say that for every 2 white people, for every white male and every white female, they're just having 1 kid, which obviously within the next generation would halve the white population.
Yeah, that's less than replacement rate. So.
And in the next generation would halve the population again and half it again and half it again and so on. And you have a lot of white people who all 3 of us white people here in the studio who are just not having kids anyway. So that further declines the birth rate until you get to a situation where white people do not exist in large enough numbers for them to find other white people with whom to mate. And that is what causes the extinction of white people. Whether it's happening or not happening, I don't really know. There's certainly truth to the idea that white people aren't sustaining their own population. I don't necessarily see what the problem is with that.
Yeah, we didn't even get into the article before the calls started coming in. So
well, I put white extinction theory in the title on Twitch.
Okay, okay. Oh, that brought everybody coming. Okay.
I don't know what the case for the North America, but for Europe and for Russian part of Europe is that you don't have a purely white person in Russia anymore. You don't have that after.
So would you say that white people have already gone extinct in those places?
No, not purely extinct, but we have Asian invasion and a lot of things. And
so
Soviet Union
what would a purely white person be? How much percentage of your ancestry has to be British or German for you to qualify as a purely white person?
I don't know how to British or Scottish. I can say for Russian or Nordish person. It's for northern parts of Europe and Russia.
It can like Scandinavia.
Yes. It can be something like 80 or 87%. It can be considered
to be white. Interesting. Well,
yes, because and for Russia it can be something like 70%, because of our ancestors have heavy invasions from Asia, and there were some complicated things coming up in some 10th century or before.
Interesting.
So,
thank you for the call. That's actually a different... Thank you for the call, Chief. We have to get back into this article to actually get into what they're discussing. It's an interesting question. You know, what constitutes being white in the first place? I mean, especially here in the United States, where there has been a great deal of interbreeding with other races. Just as a matter of course. How many of us can actually say, and this is an issue that's been prevalent at stormfront.org, where these white supremacists take, these 23andMe tests that ultimately end up in the hands of the FBI. We have since learned, by the way. But they take these DNA tests to find out what their genetic makeup is, and they go, oh, I'm not as white as I thought I was. I'm 8% black or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And since he was calling from Russia, I've heard a little bit about. I think what he was kind of getting at is that a lot of people in Russia have, over the centuries, had children with some of the more native ethnic groups there, like the Tatari, the Bashkiri, and groups like that.
I don't know anything about Russia, or its cultural makeup or ethnic makeup.
I only know a slight little bit because I happen to watch a YouTube channel called Real Russia, which is an English language a channel about Russia made by a Russian native who lives in Ufa. So I kind of binged this channel one day and learned quite a bit about Russia.
Russians are considered to be white, though, right? White is the Russian ethnicity, so to speak, in the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the average Russian would be considered white, right? So was it...
They look that way, right?
Was it colonized at some point in the distant past from Asians?
Yeah, they've had Russia was kind of the big, one of the ways to get from China to Europe. You either went that way, the northern way, kind of northern,
and there was just like, hey, this Siberia place, let's just stay here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you went through there in the summer, you wouldn't know it got that cold in the winter.
Fair enough.
You had what was his name? The guy who in the 12th century or whatever was.
But what they go on to say in the New York Times is that what the Great Replacement lacks in any factual basis, it makes up for in digital branding appeal. The white extinction theory plays well online. And we're going to get further into this, so don't go anywhere. This is the Call to Freedom. But they say that it's found its greatest purchase among a certain type of basement-dwelling incel edgelord.
Yep,
and
there you go.
I can't really disagree. This is the Call to Freedom. We'll be back, and we're going to talk about these incel edgelords here in just a moment.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
It's not just zoning rules, it's everything.
It's true.
It's everything.
There's so many rules.
Many laws. You can't possibly know them. It's physically an impossibility to know the laws. You know not to hurt other people. I don't need a law telling me to do that. But the rest of them? Totally inaccessible.
It's true.
It's written in legalese. If you don't have training in reading that crap, it might as well be a foreign language. And as you pointed out, it doesn't matter if you can read it.
I thought I had them dead to rights. And these bureaucrats, they just like, no, we do whatever we want here at the zoning board.
Yeah, that's right.
And you'll kiss our butts.
Peon, serf,
you'll
slave.
You'll do what we say.
Yeah. Why label them citizens?
Oh.
Why not just call it what it is? You're a serf. You're a slave.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, broadcast as always from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire, where you are invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Both of our previous callers used that method, and I have to say we had awesomely clear audio from them. It was great. I enjoyed it very much. Getting back into the New York Times article here about how the white extinction conspiracy theory is bonkers, which, you know, I would... it's not that I agree or disagree with it. I just don't see what the significance is one way or the other. But the white... and the best way they put it is that, you know, it appeals to basement-dwelling incel edgelords, which to me is just, that's a pretty accurate description.
That you've got it right there. That's who they are.
Yeah, and it's because of their being incels that they are misogynists.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that women can now tell them no.
Yeah, that really drives them crazy because they don't know how. Either they don't know how or they don't care, but my suspicion is they don't know. That they don't know how to relate to a woman in any kind of respectful manner, which would actually get them laid, get them a relationship, and propagate their genes. So it's, if they learned that, then they wouldn't be incels.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen some of the pictures of these people back when they marched in Charlottesville. And, I mean, to be fair, a lot of them would have a really hard time trying to find a woman who'd be like, yes, I want to have kids with you.
Mm.
And that's probably the result of long histories of inbreeding. Oh, did I just say that on the air?
Oh, no, you didn't.
But I mean, some of they did look like a bunch of inbred hicks for the most part. There were some who didn't, and who are incels for other reasons. Like, I don't want to name any names, but
we don't have to, but we can take an example or two.
Yeah. I know an incel edgelord who, you know, sort of stalks me on Facebook and actually memed me the other day.
Oh, do we know this incel edgelord?
We do.
Is he the local guy who... Okay, I think I know who you're talking about.
I call him the brony fag.
Oh, yeah, we think he secretly wants to get involved with you.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem that way. I mean...
He denies it. And he misgenders you.
He listens to the show quite a lot as well. And he's actually one of our top supporters on Patreon. He's actually our top supporter on Patreon.
Surprise! You sure he's an incel edgelord and not just a troll?
I don't know if he's a troll or not. I don't particularly care, you know? It really doesn't matter to me. I just go on about my life and, ignore it. But the theory has also found a foothold in more mainstream political circles. Donald Trump has flirted with Twitter users who espouse white extinction theory. Tucker Carlson caresses it lovingly every now and then.
Oh, that's an image I didn't need.
And Steve King grabs it by the baby.
Oh, my.
They then include one of his quotes saying, Wouters understands that culture and demographics are our destiny. We can't restore our civilization with somebody else's babies.
Okay.
See, there is a lot of collectivizing in that.
Yeah, that's all collectivism.
It is. It's their answer to collectivism. And to be fair, I think that they are a product of the left. Unintentional though it was, when you begin collectivizing people and you establish all of these groups based on these various characteristics.
Yeah, if you tell people they're in a group, they might start to believe you.
Yeah, and then what you end up doing is by definition, you exclude people who are not in that group. And the people who were routinely excluded were the white cis men. So eventually they just formed their own collectivist group and are doing exactly the same thing that the left has done for decades. Only they're straight white cis men, so it triggers the hell out of people on the left. Sometimes just their existence triggers them. Still, to really pop, the theory needed a hashtag, something catchy. White genocide was one branding possibility, but that label has failed to take off. Perhaps because a claim of genocide requires unmistakable mass death, and what we're talking about here is gradual, peaceful demographic change. As one pseudonymous YouTuber has made a fantastic video debunking the white extinction theory, notes tartly, that's white privilege for you. We even get the nice version of genocide. Enter the Great Replacement. For white supremacists, the new term offers several branding advantages. First, it sounds kind of smart. I don't know that I agree. Generally, when somebody puts the word great in something, it doesn't sound very smart.
Yeah, it sounds more like a used car salesman trying to sell you a lemon.
Yeah. This baby can fit so many genocides in it. The phrase was coined in 2012 as Le Grand Remplacement by the French writer Renaud Camus, whatever. Screw him. He's a white supremacist, giving the whole movement a patina of ivory tower intellectualism. Replacement is also more polite than genocide, which fits with a longer-term effort among white supremacists to craft a cleaner-cut image for themselves. It's interesting. Chris Cantwell, the crying Nazi, is attempting the very same thing by disassociating himself slowly from radical agenda and the alt-right and Nazism and trying to rebrand himself as a conservative.
Oh, I'm sure the conservatives are not happy about that.
Well, to be fair, he does call himself the outlaw conservative, indicating that he isn't one of them. But he's a full-blown bootlicker. He loves the state. He loves the federal government. He loves Donald Trump. Bitch, do you know what an outlaw is?
Yeah, I think he's a little confused there.
Because I don't think you can be a bootlicker and an outlaw at the same time.
Those are two opposing things.
That is a new level of Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, he's gone. He's lost.
But for budding racist influencers, perhaps the best marketing feature of the Great Replacement is that it offered fantastic possibilities in search results. That's why I call myself the anarchist shemale, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Because when you Google that, you're the only one that comes up.
The only one that comes up. Nobody else is calling themselves shemale anymore. It's all tranny, if you look on porn, or even trans woman, if you look at pornography. The word shemale is being phased out of pornography, and that is great for me. Because it means that, eventually people are just going to search for shemale, and I will be the only result.
Oh.
Whether there's anarchist in it or not.
You'll have your own porn category.
I probably do already. But for Buddy, okay, I got over that. On Google and YouTube, there are not a lot of sites. I didn't get this chlamydia from nothing. There are not a lot of sites that videos tied to that keyword.
Yeah, you have to do something to get that, and it doesn't just randomly appear.
In particular, there are not that many sources countering their arguments. Which brings us to why I'm writing to debunk the theory now. When a man killed 50 people in a mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand last week, he called his loopy manifesto the Great Replacement. Yeah, and that's why I asked the question of whether white supremacy or white nationalism, all of this is really just a meme that people have taken too far. This is the Call to Freedom. We'll be back with more discussion.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it. Wait now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
What
am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Of course, you're invited to give us a call if you would like to weigh in on white extinction theory. That number is 603-283-6160. Once more, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you would like the clear quality that we got from our previous two callers, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Going back to the New York Times here, they said that the attacker was structuring his manifesto not only to speak to audiences, but to algorithms, said Joan Donovan, director of the Technology and Social Change Research Project at Harvard. The Great Replacement is a data void in the sense that it would be very easy to capture that space on the front page of Google.
Yeah, that could work.
I think it's giving him too much credit to say that he was trying to speak to both audiences and algorithms. From what I've seen, there's nothing within the manifesto that indicates he was some sort of tactical genius that knew how to appeal to massive numbers of people.
Well, he knows how to appeal to white nationalists and incel edgelords.
Yeah, which is what just happened after the shooting. Google searches for Great Replacement spiked. And although Google returns several skeptical articles and videos for the term, it also gives a lot of pro-conspiracy content, including, for much of the weekend, the shooter's manifesto on the first page of search results. Well, he couldn't really have been very good about it, because this is the first time I've heard the Great Replacement in relation to the New Zealand shooting.
Now, to be fair, we didn't read all 74 pages of his garbage.
No, and I may not have just paid attention to what the title was, but I certainly don't think it was all that common that the manifesto even had a name. Consider this column, then, an attempt to fill that data void. Ooh, boy, isn't she martyring herself. Research shows that when you present white people with facts that counter the white extinction theory, they become less alarmed, and anxious about demographic change. That's racist. So to anyone, it is. That was racist. So to anyone who got to this piece after searching Great Replacement, here are some facts. Nobody really knows if whites will become a minority in the United States. Racial categories are blurry, and there's a big debate among demographers about how one of the fastest growing racial groups, people of mixed race who have one white parent, will identify in the future. It could be that they will not be thought of as white. It could also be that they will marry white people, have mostly white children, and generally become absorbed into mainstream white culture, which is what has happened with previous generations of immigrants who were not considered white, like Eastern and Southern Europeans.
I believe that's what our last caller, Jif, from Russia, was talking about.
Under the most inclusive definitions of whiteness, America could remain a white majority society indefinitely. Moving forward, white Americans are not facing a social and economic dead end. It's true that there are some pernicious social problems affecting white Americans, among them a rise in death rates from drug overdoses and suicides, known as deaths of despair.
Yeah, but we saw a lot of those. We saw a few of those when Trump was elected from the other side.
But these negative trends are not racially existential. Overall, across a range of health measures like infant mortality and life expectancy, white Americans are neither the last nor the least nor the most healthy. Americans, they are somewhere in the middle. And white people are still by far the wealthiest Americans. The net worth of the median black family is around 15% of that of the median white American family.
There's definitely some inequality there.
While most other groups experienced a net decrease in wealth in the 6 years after the Great Recession, white families' net worth was essentially unchanged. Whites are also less likely than people of other races to live in poverty. It is not helpful to underline the entire sentence and put a freaking URL in it. and they are more likely to be among the super rich. Well, not if you ask the Nazis, not if you ask the alt-right. They would say that the Jews are the super rich.
Yeah, well, they aren't the Jews white?
I would say that they're white.
Doesn't that just kind of undercut the whole thing?
Well, to them, they're not white. They're Jewish. It's its own distinct ethnicity, apparently.
Okay, so how do you tell the difference?
I don't categorize people on the basis of race.
Well, not you, but how do they tell the difference? Because I don't see any physical genetic. Maybe there are, but I cannot look at a random person on the street and tell if they're Jewish or not. I just.
No, I would
unless they're actually wearing something I forgot what it's called on their head.
A yarmulke. I would suggest that, they can't either. The current Congress is the most racially diverse in history, and about 8 of 10 members are white. Every single one of our 45 presidents has been a white man, except one who was half white.
There you go.
By my count, there are now 17 candidates for the Democratic presidential nomination. Good Lord. That is way too many presidential candidates. 11 of them, or almost 2/3, are white, including the 2 who have raised the most money so far. Sure, white political overrepresentation is likely to fall, but not quickly and not drastically. According to one projection in the 2036 election, 59% of voters will be white. The Great Replacement is a lie. The country is becoming more diverse, but white people are not losing their grip on America, nor on the world, not by a long shot.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it.
And I hate to do it, but I have to dispute everything the author just said. They're wrong, and they're being myopic, and they're being far too short-sighted. And they are missing the point entirely.
Okay, what's the point?
The point that the neo-Nazis, that the white supremacists make, is not that this is going to happen within the next 3 to 4 generations. The point that they're making is that this is going to take place over hundreds of years, and that by 2036, sure, white people may be down to only 59% of voters, but by 2536, they'll be 0% or 1%.
In 500 years, there might not be any visual distinction between anybody. We could all be just the same color.
And that's what they call white extinction. There would no longer be a white race.
Well, it would also be black extinction and Asian extinction and every extinction.
Yeah,
we just all be human.
That's their thing, though. They're not trying, the neo-Nazis, the alt-right, they're not trying to actively exterminate the other races, right? And Cantwell said this on Shimo versus Nazi. They don't want to actually exterminate them anymore. That was a Hitler thing, and they've sort of put it behind them. Although you can still hear traces of it, but they don't want to actually keep the other races from continuing to exist. They just want to ensure that their own continues to exist. So they want the interbreeding, as it were, to stop.
Oh, I see.
But they don't want black people to stop breeding necessarily. They don't want Hispanics or Asians or any other ethnicity to stop breeding.
Oh, they just want those other races to stop breeding with white people.
Yeah. And they don't want white people to be breeding with those other races. They're not white supremacists or racists as much as they are race separatists.
Okay.
Which I would certainly argue is a form of racism, but...
Yeah, it is racism.
It's at least less bad than we should kill all the black people or whatever they're often accused of saying.
Stay out of other people's relationships. It's not your business what their desired genetics are.
Absolutely. And Chris Cantwell himself, as I understand it, has had sex with black women in the past.
Yeah. Did he wear a condom?
I would hope not.
What? Did he have kids?
I would hope so. That would be the best thing to soften this evil, hateful man's heart, right?
A white nationalist having a mixed race kid.
And we've seen that. We've seen white nationalists faced with that difficult question of, what if, you had your son had a half black child with a black woman, and they're like, I would love that child just like any other. When you hit them on that human level, they back up. This is the Call to Freedom. We're going to dig a little bit more into this, so don't go anywhere.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 Liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And maybe you really like this show and want to know what you could do to show your support. Well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but cash goes even further, and you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our wonderful patrons there are helping to keep the show up and running, including the podcast at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com and the website at calltofreedomlive.com. And we really can't thank them enough for doing that. Once more, that's patreon.com/call to freedom if you would like to check it out and make it so that I can no longer say with a straight face that this brony fag who stalks me is our top supporter. But I would love to not be able to say that. But we're going back now to Chief, who is calling in, I think he said from Russia, who has a pretty hard-hitting question for me that I felt would be best said on the air. Chief, you're live now on the air, so if you would like to hit me with that question again.
Yes, my question is, you're talking about white extinction. I want to ask you, what is white on you, for you? Is like Jews is considered white or not? What races are you joining to the white?
Well, to me, white is a social construct. It's a categorization that we make on the basis of skin color, right? So people who are of paler skin or people who are historically predominantly from Europe or parts of Europe are considered to be white.
Okay, but Jews, I don't know how to say it in PC words, but
no, it's fine.
Jews,
we're not especially politically correct here on the show. I would consider most Jews to be white. I would consider most Arabs to be white as well. Most people in the what's the word I'm looking for there? The Mediterranean I would consider to be white.
In your conversation, do you consider their extinction as well?
Whose extinction?
White extinction. You said right now that Jews, South Africans, you can consider white people. Can you so that they extinct either?
I don't.
And if not, why?
Well, I don't think the white race, or as it were, or what we refer to as the white race, which is, people who are predominantly of European ancestry or who have lighter skin, a certain amount of melanoma, or however we wish to define what is and isn't white. We can get pretty deeply into that subject, but I don't consider them to be dying out. I don't consider extinction to be happening. And even if it is happening, even if it is the case that people with this particular genetic characteristic are not perpetuating themselves evolutionarily, that's a problem for evolution and natural selection to sort out.
Yeah, what's the big loss?
Conversation right now is going on is white extinction.
Sure.
How do you separate Jews, South Africans, and Europeans? They are white. How do you separate them?
I don't see any reason why we would have to separate them.
I don't see any reason to separate the South. Well, I think you said South African, but
I think there may be a language barrier issue here. We are not suggesting that white extinction is a real thing. We're actually kind of making fun of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, but for that conspiracy theory,
right?
How do people that consider it real? How that is even? How can they consider it real when they
they ignore all the evidence? They believe what they believe, and they don't consider evidence. It's all in their heads. They don't.
This is essentially the argument that I had with Chris Cantwell, and the reason that I wanted to do Shemale versus Nazi was so that I could sit down with him and point out to him that, this group that he's talking about of white people isn't a real thing, and that different people, define it and categorize people differently. What one person calls white, another person may not call white.
Yes, I'm sorry. I thought that you considered it for real. It miscommunication.
Oh no, we do not believe that white extinction is happening. It's just an article that we found online and that we wanted to make fun of because.
But I wanna talk to the people who think that is real. I wanna just consider you attention for the European part of.
Well, I know where you can reach at least one of them. His name is Chris Cantwell. He does a show on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can find him by looking for ChristopherCantwell.com. Or just...
Yes, but for me, it's too late. I can't be here every week or every day.
Yeah, it must be
so
very
I
late.
want to address something for this concrete conspiracy for white extinction.
What was your question?
If you think that as white extinction is real for North America in particular,
right?
Why do you think this is happening? Is because of slavery? If you think so, look at Russia at the same time. We go ahead before everything else, and we enslave our own people, and we still in shit. So if you think that...
yeah. All right, we had to drop the call. Again, that's one of those words you can't say. Thanks again for the call, though. I mean, we're about to go out anyway. Free Talk Live is going to take over with their awesome show.
Almost done.
But we certainly, in case we were ambiguous about that, or for new listeners out there, we are not advocating that white extinction is a real thing.
Yeah, we're the wrong person to ask the question I think he was asking, because this is not a theory we support.
If you ask me how I differentiate white Europeans from white people in South Africa, and how do I make these distinctions, these separations about who is white and who isn't white, I mean, I really don't. I mean, sure, I can look at someone and say, okay, yeah, I guess they're white. But to me, that's about as meaningless as saying, I guess they're tall, or I guess they're a brunette.
Okay, you look white, but who cares?
Yeah, to me, it's just a characteristic. It's no more significant than that. And of course, they do tie all of these other characteristics to that. Intelligence and creativity and all of these other things that they believe are genetically linked to one's skin color, or correlated would be a better word, to one's skin color. And I think all of that, even if it's true, is ultimately irrelevant, because it's the individual that matters. And I don't think that one person should be judged on the basis of group averages.
Yeah, skin color, who cares? If you're intelligent, that's fine. If you're not intelligent, okay, but your skin color, I don't care. Even if it's true, I don't care.
No, but Jimmy, that's Chief, or Jimmy Poof as he's known on Twitch. Thank you for the call. You're welcome to call in anytime. We do this every day, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Which I understand is the middle of the night in Russia. So
yeah, it's got to be pretty late over there. But we do thank you for the call. It was great. We had a lot of really interesting callers today. Of course, the topic of white extinction was going to bring that out.
Oh, yeah.
It is BS. That would be a better way of saying that particular word, by the way, Jimmy. It's an abbreviation of the same thing you said initially, but it is absolute BS. Not just because they're factually wrong. I don't know if they're factually wrong or if they're factually right. You know, it may be the case that their doom and gloom prophesying will ultimately be proven to be true. We don't know. I don't know. But they've also not given me any particular reason to care whether it's true or not.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so white people are going to die out.
Who cares? We'll have humans.
Yeah, and I don't particularly care if we have humans. To be totally honest, I mean, I won't be around for it.
Yeah, you won't be around. I don't know about you, but I plan to get my consciousness uploaded. So
I hope not to live past 50. In fact,
if I live that long,
I don't want to live that long. I really don't.
Live fast, die young.
Well, aging. This is an entirely different subject, but yeah, aging terrifies me. Just the whole getting older thing. I hate it. It does not sit well with me. Well, this has been the Call to Freedom. Thank you for listening. Free Talk Live is coming up next, so don't go anywhere. They're probably going to move on from the discussion about white extinction theory and why it's BS, but don't go anywhere. They'll fill you in on what they're discussing. This has been the Call to Freedom.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice.